Oklahoma State take on TCU. TCU had a tough matchup against Kansas last week. You could say that TCU was handed that game. You could say that. I don't think you should, but you could say that based on how it ended last week with a possible horse collar, possible pass interference. There was that opportunity that could have happened. But regardless, Oklahoma State versus TCU, this is going to be a prime football game. The Big 12 has gave us some really good ones. The Pokes are no joke, and we've talked about some really good quarterbacks that we've talked about lately. This is no different in this one. Max Duggan, he's come back from being the backup and then turning into arguably one of the best quarterbacks in the Big 12. And then, of course, we have Sanders, who has been absolutely electric from the beginning of the season. We've really just, you and I have really got to a liking to him. This game is going to be a really good one in my mind. I think there's some good stats to back it up. TCU is currently the favorite at -4. That's up from -1 at the beginning of the week. So the favor has really leaned towards TCU. But the projections are very close. A lot of people think that this is a very even game. SP Plus on ESPN has it, the projection of Oklahoma State only winning by 0.01. And then the FBI is only TCU by 2.6. So a lot of people are favoring Oklahoma State in the points on this one. That's exactly where I lean to. I really like Oklahoma State in this football game. I think TCU showed a little bit of weakness with their secondary last week when Kansas's backup quarterback Bean came in and threw some great touchdowns. Now, don't get me wrong. I think Bean's a great quarterback, and we're going to probably see him this week against Oklahoma. But that Oklahoma State offense is absolutely deadly. And I think they're going to take care of TCU. I think it's going to be a good football game. Don't get me wrong. I think they win by a score, maybe 10 points at most, but I'm going to go with the Pokes on this one.
I'm with you there. Now, of course, when you and I picked Oklahoma State and TCU to be undefeated at this time of year,
right? We totally,
and to be the class of the Big 12. I don't think anybody. So you could say what Oklahoma State. Okay, these guys are sleepers. I believe you may have said when we were talking early in the year, Oklahoma State could be a sleeper in the Big 12.
I definitely said they could be a sleeper. I will say, if we had a full projection show of the Big 12, I would have said that TCU was battling the bottom of West Virginia. Like, I didn't think TCU was going to be a good football team at all.
Agreed. And then Duggan, man, we've slept on both of these quarterbacks. We have not talked about Sanders nearly enough, and Duggan probably is more valuable to his program than Sanders is, because I think Oklahoma State is deeper, from starters down to second and third strings across the board than TCU is. But I mean, ultimately, TCU under this coach, they've got 5 wins already. They've only averaged 5 wins a season over the 3 previous seasons. So that's telling you that the Horned Frogs are buying in to this program and how to play football. They seem to be a very disciplined team. They don't really waver much from what you expect them to do in any given game plan. This is going to be a war of attrition, really. It's not where TCU will get beaten. I'm not even sure they'll beat themselves. I think they're just going to get worn down as the game goes on. And Oklahoma State is just going to, make the statement, okay, we are the cream of the Big 12. And since we mentioned that, and I've got my WVU hat on and Texas Tech t-shirt, is the Big 12, top to bottom, the best college football conference in 2022?
Absolutely. I think that is a without question mark for me. I think that the Big 12 has the most depth, and we just saw it in the game this week. If you were watching college football at the beginning of the week, which I strongly recommend you do, it's good for your health and well-being. West Virginia took care of Baylor, who we thought could be the Big 12 champion yet again. West Virginia, just like we said about TCU, thought we're going to be at the bottom of the pile. Now, West Virginia still is towards the bottom, but they might not be the basement dwellers. If we went in and talked at the beginning of the season that TCU would finish the season on top and Oklahoma would finish the season in the basement, we'd probably get run out of the streets with some pitchforks and torches.
Mhm.
But that is exactly what is happening in the Big 12. Yes, this conference is the best in by far this entire year. It's a shame that two of the teams are going to be heading to the SEC. I don't think that's going to change the fact that this conference is still going to be great in years moving forward. I think they'll find a way to bring in some more competition. Not only is the SEC growing, we're seeing other conferences making big names. Obviously, the Conference USA American making some big changes. We're going to see some different conferences, how they look in years coming up. But the Big 12 will find a way to bring in some big competition. And this conference is going to remain very relevant for a long time with the teams that they're building up. We're seeing basketball schools, Steve, become top-notch football schools. And Kansas is leading that charge. And with the Big 12, they are arguably the most deep conference in all of football. This championship game is going to be electric. I don't know who's going to be in it. I couldn't name you one team right now that is a shoo-in for the Big 12 championship. We have that in every other conference. You know, you can make the assumption that Bama's going to be there because of how they play with divisions. There's the strong possibility that Clemson can be there. We'll talk about that here in a little bit. But with the Big 12, not a single shoo-in.
No, I agree. I mean, I'm leaning toward Oklahoma State being that team that we're going to see there. But, and the Big 12, by having this kind of season, really is paving the way to bring in teams that could be competitive and serious fun replacements for Texas and Oklahoma.
Yeah.
So this is time for our obligatory. Wouldn't it be great to have UTSA in the Big 12? That would, oh God. Oh,
well, we're going to see him in the American next year, so that's good enough, at least as a step up in my mind from Conference USA.
Yeah,
it'd be cool to see him in the Power 5, though.
I'm sure they can get out of that.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be Santa. I know I've been a bad boy on these shows for the most part, but I would really love for you to find a way to get UTSA out of the commitment to go to the American and to join the Big 12. Thank you.
You've seen the commercial. John Hamm, Santa Claus, is sitting on poolside. He's on vacation. I don't think he's hearing it yet. Okay. He's pretty mad that the World Cup is happening at Christmas time. Drixley also says Big 12 doing big things. Couldn't agree more. Also, looks like they commented and said pokes. So they also agree that we think Oklahoma State's going to win that one.